Okay, so this slide again shows some of the history of the project. If you look at those top two slides, you'll see what it looked like several years ago when it was the old Monrock gravel pit, and then the bottom picture starts to show the transformation from the old gravel pit to what's currently there today. Again, just talking about the vision, it was an area that I think few people would have recognized the potential of it. Mr. Ball was able to recognize that vision and purchase the property and help us get to where we are today. This is a slide again that just shows some of that vision becoming a reality kind of before our eyes. Some of the great dining and shopping options we have down there, the great restaurants that have become extremely popular with the local community. Talking about some of the amenities, miles of walking space, biking trails, the Central Valley creeks, the lake at the end of the Central Valley with the fountains are all just beautiful places that we love to see people out enjoying. This is just shots of some of our residential options, the Falls Apartments, the Legacy Creek Homes, as well as the Bandon River Apartments. And 2020 has been a big year for us for construction. We've had a lot of things going on there. Starting at the top left, and I'll just go clockwise. Top left is the Knowles office building, 60,000 square feet, Class A office building. Again, fills a need that we feel like probably didn't really exist in Idaho Falls before. Moving to the right is the Beard St. Clair Gaffney corporate headquarters that's currently under construction. And then down in the bottom right, Karchner Commercial has added another 96 apartment units this year to their existing apartment community. And then the bottom left is the new multi-tenant building that's under construction next to the Stockman's parking lot. So we're excited to be able to bring those new buildings and that new activity to the area. And I want to touch a little bit on something that's always important to us, which is trying to be aware of and responding to market demands. We're always trying to understand what people want, what they're looking for. One of the things that we find, we get the most comments on that people love is, again, if they have an office building down there and their employees are there, they love to be able to go for a walk or ride their bike at lunchtime without having to get in the car and drive somewhere. So they love the trails, they love the green space and the beauty. In the Knowles office building, for example, if you have an office in that building and you're a tenant in that building, we have built common showers as well as locker rooms and indoor bicycle storage. So if you like to ride your bike, you don't have to pack it up to your office if you don't want to. You can store it down on the ground floor of the building. If you want to go for a ride at lunchtime, you can have a locker to put your stuff in, go for a ride, come home, come back, have a shower, and go back to work. Again, something that we had a lot of feedback on our other office buildings, people wanting. The Knowles office building will also include 2 electric vehicle chargers for people who want to drive electric vehicles, and that's in addition to the Tesla chargers that you're probably all already familiar with over behind Buffalo Wild Wings. Some of the other advantages to Snake River Landing, we believe the biggest advantage is location. If you have an office down there and you have employees, we're kind of right at the crossroads. If your employees come anywhere from Blackfoot to Rexburg, from Ammon to Arco, we're kind of right at the crossroads, and we're convenient to everybody. We're close to the airport, close to downtown and the many restaurants and different great spots that are downtown. Our trails. Parking is another big plus. We have ample parking. All of our buildings have plenty of parking, and that's never a problem. One thing that often gets overlooked, but we think is extremely important, are the protective covenants. If somebody's thinking of buying a piece of land there and building a building for an office or a retail establishment, they want to know that over time, their value of their building is going to increase and going to go up. And we can ensure that through the protective covenants and keeping control over what goes on around you, and knowing that investment value is going to continue to grow over the years. I want to move south now down to the Sunnyside area. This is the area just off Sunnyside, just west of the Snake River. you'll see the planned location for the announced Larry H. Miller Megaplex. And if you drive down there today, you'll see that site work is going on. That site is getting torn apart right now, and there's a lot of grading going on. And basically, we're doing the rough grading, rough site work for that site between Heritage Park, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second, and Snake River Parkway. We're going to be constructing the access drive that goes from Snake River Parkway over to Heritage Park. And as part of what the city's doing, constructing the park, we'll be building the parking area that will be kind of on our eastern boundary of our property. And on the west side of Snake River Parkway is a planned retail center, which, again, another one of those deals where I have to say things are happening, but I can't tell you what. We are working with retailers. It's certainly been slowed down a little bit with the COVID activity, but hoping that pretty soon we can get that ramped back up again and start getting some activity on that west side of Snake River Parkway. Drilling down a little bit on Heritage Park. Heritage Park is something that we're really, really excited about. This is land that was donated to the city by Stafford Smith and his family. City's been working on bringing in a lot of required fill dirt and kind of sloping and putting in the initial grade on that park. And we, as part of our construction on our site next to it, like, as I said, we'll be building the parking area for the park. So that is moving forward. And boy, at this point, we've got to give a great shout out to Rotary. As all of you know, Rotary's been heavily involved in this project and has made a substantial financial commitment. The park will be paid for by other private donors, I'm sure, as well as grants and nonprofit donations, which is a great thing to see the community come together. This is going to be a really unique park when it's done, something that's different than I think anything in the region. And I want to talk a little bit about the Mountain America Center, another thing that, again, we are really excited about. Our involvement at Ball Ventures in this is somewhat limited. We donated about 22 acres to the Idaho Falls Auditorium District for this facility. We've been involved in partnership with the Auditorium District to finish the road, Event Center Drive, from Snake River Parkway through to Pioneer Road, which has just been completed and just recently opened. The Auditorium District has been working to finish and improve Pioneer Drive on their frontage, as well as complete some underground infrastructure and parking facilities, and encourage any of you, now that road's open, to drive up there and take a look at what's been done. There's definitely some great progress that's being made there, and we're excited to see where that goes in the future. Community events. We love community events, and we're saddened by the fact that we can't really do them right now, and we really, really look forward to the day when those events can come back. We have a lot of events throughout the year down there. We think this is an important part. This is the play part of Live, Work, Shop, Play. And, we've really enjoyed hosting those events over the years. And like I said, can't wait until we can do that again. And the 4th of July, probably everyone's favorite day. This is just a great project. We love being able to host the 4th of July every year, my favorite day of the year. We're honored to be able to work with Melaleuca and Riverbend Communications and so many other people in the community that work hard for weeks and months to plan this event and pull it off. It's such an awesome event for our community and for the region, brings people from all over the region and from out of state. And we just love doing it, and we're proud to host it, and look forward to doing that again next year. With that, I want to just hit briefly on a couple of the challenges that face our industry now. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'm happy to take questions if anybody wants to discuss them further. But probably the two things that concern me the most as we deal heavily in office and retail properties, certainly through COVID, we know that people have gotten accustomed to working from home. And so there's always a question for us: what's that going to do to office leasing? What are people going to do when it finally is no longer a factor? Are they going to stay home, or are they going to go back to the office? We certainly have our thoughts, but that's a question and a concern for us. And the same thing applies to retail. People have been home; they're getting more and more accustomed to ordering things online. And is that trend going to hold? How does that affect retail stores? How does that affect retail sales? Those are two questions that we have that we're continually researching and looking at and trying to understand better, so we know how to do things differently in the future. In summary, again, I appreciate having the opportunity to go over these projects with you all. We look forward to continued growth in Idaho Falls. We look forward to the future. We really, really value and appreciate the relationships that we have and the work that we've done over the years with city officials, Mayor Casper, Mayor Coletti, former Mayor Kirkham and Ammon, city councils have all been instrumental in helping us to achieve our mission and accomplish the things that we've accomplished. The many great contractors and consultants and companies that are local that we've worked with over the years. We just live in a wonderful community with great people, and we really appreciate that. And we believe that Idaho Falls has a very bright future with continued growth. And again, we appreciate you allowing us to be here today, and be happy to take some questions now.
Well, thank you, Eric. As was mentioned earlier, I'm Liza Leonard. I'm the marketing manager for Ball Ventures, and it's my pleasure to present Eric with some of the questions that came through. I'm really excited that we were able to talk a little bit about Snake River Landing and Sand Creek Commons. I'm really excited also because this week is my 12-year anniversary with Ball Ventures, and it's just been exciting to see the project grow and the community grow with us. I want to just start with a question that we got several times from different people about residential, the future of residential at Snake River Landing. Can you talk a little bit about the home types, the areas? What can we expect in the coming years?
Okay. That's a great question. As I said earlier, in the master plan, we set aside about 100 acres for residential. And initially, when we were going through that city approval process many, many years ago with Planning Commission and the City Council and the Mayor Furman at the time, we had committed that we would deliver primarily high-density residential options. Again, that is in line with the mixed-use concept. It's kind of the idea that, people are interested in getting more into a urban setting. And we wanted to provide options for people other than, people who wanted to live on a half acre out in the country. So we've always focused on bringing residential types that are high density. Interesting, the Legacy Creek, the first residential development we did was a single family product. And I look back on that, and the reason that really wasn't what we anticipated, but we had committed to people that we were going to bring residential. And that was right about 2008 when the economy was crashing and condominiums were hard to finance, and we felt like we needed to make good on that commitment to bring residential. So it took us about a year to retool, and we brought the Legacy Creek concept, which is single-family homes, but very small lots, high density, and small yards, kind of a lock-and-leave concept where people could live in a single-family home, not have a common wall with somebody, but still have somebody else take care of the yard and not have a high-maintenance home. So in the future, we see it continuing to go that way. We think it'll continue to be high density. There's some things, again, on the drawing board right now that are happening that we think within the next year to 2 years. Some of it even sooner than that. There'll likely be a townhome project that will start sometime in the next several months to a year. But then on top of that, we have other developers that are looking at doing more apartments and townhomes. So we think that's going to continue into the future and probably at a fairly accelerated path in the next couple of years.
Well, it's fun to see that growth. We're excited about that. And it's also interesting kind of as we grow to see the right mix come together. You talked a little bit about Snake River Landing being mixed-use development, kind of the mix of different tenants at Sand Creek Commons. Given some of the space that's available for office or retail at either one of these projects, what do you think would be a great addition to those projects, great addition to the market in Idaho Falls? What's the right fit?
Well, we think that that a mix of different uses is definitely the best, and we always try to lay those out in compatible ways. We see, again, more kind of higher end apartments like the ones that are there now over in the future, the area along the edge of the river on the far east end, which will probably be some of the later areas to develop, will probably be a little higher end residential project. We see possibly live-work units there, higher end condominiums or townhomes. But again, and then I think there's a possibility on the far west side. There could be maybe some more high density or single family homes. But I think the important thing is to just, again, adapt to those market conditions. We will develop whatever is in demand at the time. We have to make sure that we have buyers and tenants for the things that we build. So we have to be a little bit driven by the market, but definitely with an eye to quality and diversity, and doing some different things so we can bring all different age groups and all different users into the project.
I think the announcement of Mobetas is very exciting, and some of the growth. I would love to ask the question that a lot of people have, that is, what else is coming? But I know we can't disclose anything else, so I'm going to skip that. And maybe just go to looking at what Ball Ventures is doing in the market or in the region overall. Are there any projects, anything else that we can expect, that the community could expect from Ball Ventures in this area?
That's a great question. And let me just touch on, again, like I said, I hate this, things are coming, but we can't tell you what. Usually when we're working with businesses to come to town, they usually like confidentiality, and they expect us to not say who they are or what they're doing. And we also, one of our company values is to say what we do and do what we say. And so we want to be really careful that we don't announce something or say that something's coming and then have to come back later and say, well, sorry, just kidding, it didn't really happen. So we're trying to be really careful to that. But as far as other projects, one of the things I didn't touch on in the presentation, but if you're familiar with Sand Creek Commons, to the south of Sand Creek Commons, on the other side of Judy Street, south of Cabela's, we own another 40 acres right there. And we will see that start to develop in the next year or so. That will be likely some more multifamily homes or apartment units on the far east side of that property. Possibly some retail in the middle, and then on the Hit Road side and down on the south end, it will likely be professional office or more medical office. So that's something that we're going to be focused on. At Snake River Landing, again, we see continued growth there on the retail front. Other than that, that's probably the main part for this local town. Continued growth on the apartments at Northgate, and again, we're excited about the retail project in Pocatello at Alameda and Yellowstone Highway. We expect to see some things happening there in the next year.
I think we're probably just about out of time, but I just wanted to touch a little bit on Ball Ventures, and we're a company. I think you talked a little bit about our legacy and some of our founding and our roots in Idaho. Of course, the future economic development of Idaho is very important to us all. And so I was just kind of curious, what do you think is important for Ball Ventures' perspective, from the state's perspective, for the future of economic development?
I think the biggest disadvantage that we have in Idaho, having worked in a lot of different states, is we just, and I think you probably all heard this before, we just don't have the tools in our tool belt here for to do some of the things to compete with what some of the other states do. When we're looking at bringing a large retailer, we're competing usually with other states that are offering up tax incentives and different things that we just don't have the ability to do here. So it puts us at a big disadvantage when it comes to bringing some of those users sometimes. Another thing, which again has come up a lot, are our liquor license laws. We really, the way that works, without getting into a lot of detail, the bottom line is, for a restaurant that wants a liquor license to come to Idaho Falls, another one that has one has to close because there's a limited number of licenses. And that's just a situation that we think is unfortunate and definitely keeps some of the restaurants from coming to town when they don't know if they can get a license. They don't know how much it's going to cost them, how long it's going to take. That's something else that we think is an impediment to economic development. One of the big things that we do have, which is a good thing, and we hope that it stays in place, is urban renewal. That's played a big part in Snake River Landing's success, and that's a topic for another day, but we hope that continues to be a tool that we can use. Thank you. Good question.
Eric and Liza, thank you so much for joining us for the luncheon today. I know our club is looking forward to the day when we can come back to the waterfront for our face-to-face meetings, and of course the continued work on Heritage Park. That's a project that's near and dear to many of our members, and so we're really excited about that. Catherine, thank you for continuing to coordinate great programs for us this month, and to our friends at IE Productions for continuing to make this platform available for not only the Idaho Falls Rotary Club, but other organizations in our community as well. If you're interested in learning more about becoming a Rotarian, please visit our website, follow us on Facebook, or you can send us an email at idahofallsrotary@gmail.com. Thank you all very much, and we hope you'll join us again next week.